Hello, everyone. I'm David. I'm a TI, and I'm here with Olson, and he'll tell you how it's a pen name, whatever you want to call it, because he don't want to give his real name out, and his face is going to be not shown. Anybody that comes on my channel, I give them that option, and any real TI would understand why. So, Olson, I'm really glad you came out today to give us a testimony. They've really been messing with our communications over the last few weeks, or actually over the last year, trying to get a hold of me. I think the first message was 6 months ago, and every time I would respond, he would not get it, and they just messed with our communication. And now, for some reason, we're able to communicate. So, Olson, could you start out telling us what your life was like? I know you said that you think you've been targeted since early childhood, but what your life was like before your targeting was overt, and what it's like now that it is overt.
Uh, Early life was pretty, it's always been a little bit strange. I've had characters come in and out of my life that, uh, for some reason, I've always attracted the downtrodden and help, always helped them feel better. My first best friend when I was 5 years old was an 83-year-old man, a next door neighbor. We used to drink coffee together. Uh, my parents knew him. Then my whole life, I've always gotten along with older individuals than myself. Uh, Never in my age group. Uh, I've never developed a really meaningful relationship with anybody in my age group. It's always the older folks for some reason. And like I said, there's always people that would come to me with problems, uh, and I would help them out. Life was decent, after childhood, and I met my ex-wife when I was 18. We had a child about a year later. It was normal. Uh, that was in 2019. I'm sorry. Let me see. 2000, 1999. 1999 is when we met. We had a child about a year later. Um, we were together for about 16 years. Eventually had two other kids. Uh, Just normal life. Yeah, I I used to have to do things to make money. I'm not gonna mention. Well, I mean, it's past the statute of limitations. So, I used to sell things. Put it like that. Uh, and it's not. I'm not saying it's good. I did what I had to do to get by. Um, used to attend normal family functions. Uh, have decent friends. Uh, yeah, it was normal. It was pretty decent. After I got out of the criminality, and was growing up, I dropped out of school in eighth grade. I went back and got my GED, then attended a little bit of college. I was a mechanic or auto tech, whatever you want to call it, before this happened. And in May 2013 is when I had my car accident. Ended up paralyzed. And about 3 years after that, that's when I noticed they went from covert to overt. After I was in this wheelchair, I'd be followed around and whatnot. Military plates, people zooming by, screaming, racial slurs or pussy or, you know, name calling, childish stuff. But yeah, my family, I mean, my life was pretty normal, just average, working class type of life.
What was when your stuff started going covert? What's the first thing you noticed going on?
Being followed in stores, being followed by some weird characters that I try not to judge anybody, but every perp that I've seen, not all of them, let me rephrase that. but a lot of them seem like they were on meth. Just just strange characters, strange characters.
And did you like did you tell yourself, oh well, this is just a coincidence? Oh, this might
Yeah,
be somebody looking for thinking I'm stealing something, stuff like that. Did you X all that out in your mind after like so many experiences?
yeah. There's one time I I and my oldest son were at Walmart and we were being followed around by these two what they called themselves security. We were just looking at magazines in the magazine now, but they would follow us around the whole Walmart. And I've always been an intuitive person, so I started paying attention. I started looking and just watching what was going on. Then I started doing research, and that's when I found out about targeted individuals or gang stalking, whatever you want to call it, group stalking, stalking by proxy. Uh, and The more I studied, the worse it got. And in the beginning, the first year and a half, 2 years was just the gang stalking. There was no direct energy or yet um, just being followed, and then people, stores or barbershops or places. Because apparently, where I stay is a small town, so you get to know people after a while, and after it went from covert to overt, these people started acting, treating me strange, like I was a stranger, just a problem, you know, just for bringing them business. So,
Wow.
that's when I started paying attention, and then that's when the military place started popping up. The military looking, pretty built, you know, military physique type people.
Right.
I noticed everywhere,
Did you ever
everywhere I went.
did you ever go to like go to a store and the store close on you when you and say we're not open, or just say, well, we're not taking cash at the moment? And have
Yeah,
you ever had
yeah,
any
that's
incidences
happened.
like that?
Yeah, yeah. The barber shop, they I paid there with a credit card before, and all of a sudden their machine's not working, or they would have to use one of the squares, the square that you can connect to your phone to accept payment or whatever. Uh, and I don't know, just weird things. Um, it's kind of having a hard time recollecting right now.
Yeah, like
But
I give you an example. Like Holly was going to get us some ice cream one day, and we were talking on the phone, and I was like, "Okay, we'll stop at such and such store." I forgot what store the name of it is. It's some kind of. It's not Baskin Robbins, but so she stopped there at 2 in the afternoon, and the dude is what they're all walking out saying, "Well, we're closed, ma'am." When she pulled up, and that happened like see 3 times at that ice cream shop over the last 3 or 4 years.
yeah, you just reminded me.
Yeah,
Yeah, different. There would be different little things like when we go through a fast food place, they would, intentionally leave out something, or there's been times where uh order a combo meal or a drink, and there'd be a hole poked in the bottom of the cup.
yeah, stuff
Just
like that.
yeah, yeah, just little things, just enough to irk you, just step by step, constantly through the day. That's the point, is to keep you under stress.
Yeah. Um. So, do you experience any? What do you experience? Do you experience direct energy attacks at all?
Oh yeah. I've sent you the pictures of my burns.
Yeah, they were
Um,
pretty bad. Now they're so bad I
yeah,
can't show them on here. So I don't want to take a chance of but his feet were burnt pretty bad.
and that's
Well,
only
not
the
pretty
things that
bad,
showed.
overly bad. How long was you in the hospital for that?
About a month.
And could you explain how that happened? Did it just come up all at once?
And this is probably about 2 years after I noticed the initial gang stalking or group stalking, whatever you want to call it. Um, I was sleeping. I was in bed, and they used to burn my legs and my feet. They started off with my legs and my feet, where they would heat it up so bad I would just have to uncover my legs. And there's if you see on the picture, they started off just as little pink spots, and that's from the parts of my feet that were touching the bed. I don't know about you, but in the beginning, all my direct energy felt like it was coming from out of the ground, and so anything underneath me or anywhere my body would contact anything I'm sitting or laying on. Like you said, I'm paraplegic, so I can only sit or lay. Uh, but those particular burns start. I was asleep. I woke up with these pink spots. Next night got worse, and then they grew into the 4 by 3 inch blisters, or probably 5 by 3 inch blisters that that you've seen.
Yeah, they're
And that's just
severe.
from that's yeah, that's just from being in bed. And paraplegics or people with compromised blood flow are prone to pressure sores or bed sores, but I don't spend enough time on my feet to get pressure sores like that. And I I've never seen a case of a pressure sore being between toes. Um, yeah, that took a while. Those took years to heal.
Right. I bet. And I wish I could show them, like I said, but at this point, my channel's censored right now, and I would have to get this first strike off of me before I would even take another chance like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't blame
Um,
you.
and I don't see how these other channels, do some of the stuff they do, and then my channel don't make sense at all. So what symptoms do you get when you like experience direct energy attacks? Like me, I get nausea, vertigo, dizzy, fainting, weak spells, burning in my head, shocks in the back of my brain, vibrations throughout my whole body, uh, really bad ear ringing. Like the last week, I hear like this cricket noise 24/7. I used to hear it just every now and then, and my tinnitus consists of like pressure in my ear at all times, making noises and just weird noises. And you can tell sometimes it feels like the ocean's in my ear. But yeah, so what symptoms do you have when you're attacked with these weapons?
Everything that you mentioned, and then they hit vital organs in my body. They'll make my heart race. They'll make me sweat. And if you do any research on paraplegics from your injury below, I cannot sweat. My sweat glands don't work from my spinal cord injury below. So the only thing that works on me is my arms and my head, my loud mouth.
Right,
Um, and yeah, I've experienced everything that you mentioned, um, and then more. I have a suprapubic catheter, and that's the only my urine goes into a bag. That's the only way that I can tell there's blood in my urine. When my kidneys are really burning, then my bladder will get hit so bad that there's tons of mucus that will clog up my catheter, and that that is from being hit in the bladder. Uh, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to go into the medical terminology. Uh, but I know my body, I know myself, I know what's happening. You know,
right. Do you have any idea why you're targeted?
like I said, I used to do some bad stuff back in the day, and when I was 14 years old, when I first moved to Pearland, we'll get into the reasons why I believe this later. But we went to a kid's house that his dad sold weed for certain organizations or an organization, and I stole. I walked off with two hefty bags full of weed, and that was when I was 14, first moved to the area I'm in. Uh,
So
and
you think yours is
I
based off revenge?
I think so. I think so. I'm not sure. Like I said, it could be early childhood thing. I don't know. I'm not sure. Uh,
Right.
it's kind of hard to tell. There's been so many events in my life. There's a plethora of reasons why I could be targeted.
Yeah. Well, I've known people to get background checks run on themselves. Um, I being one of them, and from 14, I mean from 16 on, every car I've drove, there's pictures of that in my background check, and I'm like, what? What's going? Why would that even be there? You know?
Hmm.
So how would they? Why were they taking? You know? Why would my pictures of my car unless I was under investigation for something? And I can't understand why I would be under investigation for anything. You know? But I've known
You
others
mentioned
to run their
investigation.
checks and it being there too, other TIs.
Yeah, you mentioned investigations. About 2 years after that, I used to work at a Popeyes, and every person there was selling something out of the drive-thru. And like I said, this is beyond statute of limitations, so I feel comfortable talking about this part. Um, but we were being watched. Everybody was being watched. There was a bowling alley uh, right adjacent to the Popeyes that I worked the drive-through, and there was a special code that we would tell customers to mention at the drive-through. But it was so much coming out of that Popeyes that there would be police parked right there just surveilling Popeyes all day, every day. I was not the only one, so I don't think it was just for me.
Right.
Uh, it was that particular place. Yeah.
Has any of them people you worked with ever said come to you and said that they think they're TIs?
No, no, um, no. I lost. I lost. Like I said, I was 16, so I lost touch with a lot of them. A couple of them I still know. They're long time friends, but no, uh, not that I know of.
Um, how did you find out like this? I mean, you were doing research and stuff, but like, what made you find out about the TI community, and what was going on?
Like I said earlier, I've always been a very intuitive person, even since childhood. I believe I have a thing called claircognizance, where I already know what's going to happen uh, before it happens. People that are really close to me will tell you how many different things that I predicted from early childhood that was going to happen later in my life. I predicted that I was going to get paralyzed. I didn't think I knew some type of uh, disaster was going to happen in my midlife. And 30 when I was 32, like I said, 5 days before my birthday, that's when I was in a car accident and got me paralyzed. I used to tell my cousin when I was a kid, I don't believe I'm going to live past 25. I didn't know that people did live past 25 when I was younger. Uh, it just seemed, you know, like a normal thing to me. But there are countless events that I've predicted in the past, and like I said, the people that are close to me, still close to me, they know, they could come on here and tell you the same thing that I'm saying right now.
Oh, I believe you. There was an incident on the bus where, and I'm not gonna go into it because this is your story, but people who's heard my stories heard me talk about this incident. Well, when I got on the bus, and sat down. It's like everything was shown to me and what moves I needed to make to escape the situation. Uh, like 10 minutes before it happened. You see? So, and I'm not making
Hmm.
this up, so that's why I believe you because this has happened like 4 different times, and I attribute it to the Most High God. I really think the Most High God gave me vision and the split second decision I needed to make each time. I just don't, I'm not going to take credit from mine because I would hope if I needed it again, he would provide. So I definitely believe there's stuff like that happens because I've had it happen 4 or 5 times to me.
Have you done any research on the GT or GATE program?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had a friend post something the other day. Let me see. I can pull it right up. And it tells well, not the well. This is not necessarily the GATE program. This is let's see what he posted. I think it is the GATE program. Uh, the GATE was the program for the gifted kids, but there's another one in the that was in the '80s, and I can't remember
Oh,
what the name of it is. Uh-huh.
tags, tags, TAGS.
I don't know. All right, this is the. Okay, this is called. Oh yeah, the GATE. There was a GATE program that was in the '80s through the early 2000s too. It says these
Yeah.
are common characteristics of children involved in the GATE tag of the program itself. Common physical characteristics: blue eyes, forehead scars. And I had that growing up. I had a scar in the middle of my forehead that was pretty deep. An occipital bun, a math bump, and that's a knot that comes out like right here.
Hmm.
Psychological characteristics: high IQ, interest in phenomena, INTJ, intuitive, memory loss, particularly of gate tag program details, migraines, moral intensity, strong sense of justice, premonitions, prophetic dreams. I've had almost all that stuff, and when I was a kid, I don't have no more. I had MRI after MRI because I had migraines, and they couldn't tell me what they were about. And the life history, birth complications. I had birth complications. I was in an incubator. I had jaundice and problems with my lungs and all that. Firstborn son. I was a firstborn son. Early speech therapy. I needed early speech therapy. And kindergarten and first grade. Near-death experience, especially drowning. My stepmom tried to drown me when I was 12.
Wow.
But that don't have nothing to do with this the drowning, I don't think. Lean on this, what they're talking about, leniency from authority figures. Yeah,
Yep.
late teens, early 20s, heavy drug use. That really wasn't me. Jewish art student girlfriends, and tendency toward being followed, abducted, tracked, or gang stalked, and that's me. So I can relate with a lot of them, and I know a lot of y'all probably can too. And now, if you probably know a lot more about the program than me, if you wanted to talk about some of it, I haven't really got to
No,
study much about the GATE program, but I know that they did do that for the children and look for children like that. Now, this says 80s to the early 2000s. However, it started in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, but it went on through the 80s and the 2000s too. But I'll try to get this correct. When did the GATE program? So you mentioned the GATE program. Is there anything you wanted to say about it?
there's declassified documents about the CIA. It's called the Gateway Project, Gateway Program, or Gateway Project, and it tells you in detail about how they were surveilling children. It's still happening to this day. There's a few cases in Florida uh, about a family that the dad had a criminal record, so that it's predictive policing is what they call it. So they start watching the kids. Um, and there's a story in Florida where the I forget what county, I think it's Broward County. Um, uh, they started messing with this one of the father's children. He was a teenager, hadn't committed any crimes, didn't have any type of behavioral record, but they would come to the house every day asking, asking questions and just harassing these people. Um, The information's online. I don't remember the family's name, but I know I believe it was Broward County family being harassed by police. You can probably find it on YouTube.
Okay.
Um,
It says right
and
here,
there's
people mention experiencing gait in the late 1970s or early 1980s, suggesting the program existed prior to the formal establishment. So if you do your study, before formal establishment, it was kind of like under the radar.
right, right, classified.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where because I know that I believe the limitation on the declassification of certain documents is 50 years. Uh, so this is just what they're letting us know. Nobody really knows except for the insiders. Uh, so this is just stuff that they're letting us know about. Like the things that are happening to us now. I don't believe is going to be released in 50 years. Uh, now that everything's digital, all they have to do is wipe it. They don't have to destroy any paper anymore. Uh, at least I believe.
Right. Let me see. Oh yeah, and when if you're searching anything on Google, you have to go to more search results so many times before you start hitting the good information. If they've not scrubbed it
Right.
all.
Yeah. I use Brave.
Yeah,
I know
Brave
Brave
Search is a
Brave
good
runs.
search engine.
Yeah. Um, I know that everything's running through Google because Google has a monopoly on the internet. You know, um, whether they're calling it Bing or Edge, whatever it is. And these are also multinational corporations that I believe are involved. Microsoft, Google, uh, uh, the Alphabet, because Google is owned by a company called Alphabet, and everybody talks about the Alphabet agencies. So two and two together, common sense is kind of tell you Alphabet agencies, they're probably owned by the same people, in my opinion.
Right. Um. So you mentioning that do you feel like you were in a member of the GATE program?
Yeah, yeah. I remember the one particular thing that I can remember, or a couple of particular things, is going to the nurse and having to drink some like Pepto-Bismol, and also taking hearing and IQ tests. This IQ test, uh, I- they're just random patterns, and they're asking, which one would you put in the last place? And I just started about a week ago looking into this gate because they did offer me in second grade. They offered the gate program, even though I failed first grade. uh, in second grade, they started offering me the gate program, but my parents rejected it at the time. And I don't believe I believe that that did not stop them from watching or keeping track.
Right. Yeah, because let's see, leniency from authority figures, late teens, already 20. Let's see. But early speech therapy, I had to go to early speech therapy and all that, and I was getting IQ tests and stuff like that too. So, maybe I can track it back. I mean, I did feel weird. Like I would always be the one, like, man, you don't see them. It'd be like watchers just follow the same cars would just follow. Even when I was a teenager riding back roads, it'd be the same cars just following me around everywhere. And I'm like, why are they just keeping track of us? I'm not, I'm just riding back roads, just having fun with my friends, and it'd be the same people. And I just never thought nothing of it. But now looking back, I wonder if there was something, involved with this gate program that may have us targeted, may not. That's what I try to tell people. If they're successful, if the FISA 701 courts, if the lawsuit targeted justice is doing it successful, it's only going to get the terrorist watch list. And anybody that gets off target, and I'm all for it, but you need to push it as that and let people know, look, it's only going to clear off the terrorist watch list. So there's many different lists of targets. So then what's going to happen is people's going to say, well, my targeting ended and all these other programs are not going to end. And so then you're going to have the controversy where people saying they're targeted and then they're going to get, well, no, targeting ended, dude. And I think that may be something they're trying to create, something like that. And then you could think I'm crazy or whatever, but there's many different lists, there's many different programs. Just the watch list is just one of many programs. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 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 I would.
Definitely.
Uh, yeah, I
Um,
have a hard time recalling what I was about to say, but yeah, yeah, I've had characters come in and out of my life where it seems like they're just coming in to check on me. You know what I mean? To see where I'm at that point. Just maybe we'll be in a communication for about a week and won't see them for 3, 4, 5 years. Then they'll pop back up. Get collect a little bit of information and then disappear again.
yeah. And you said you don't experience V2K at all, right?
No, I don't experience. I haven't got the V2K, but I do get quote unquote family running around my house in the middle of the night, yelling different name calling, just middle school bullying tactics. And like I talked to you before, I'll mention the names later that just to get them out there if it's okay with you.
Uh,
I don't want anybody coming after you for libel, but these, uh, I don't believe these people, and it goes deeper to
so you're
the
saying
people
at
that really
night they
have.
run around your yard yelling?
Yeah, they'll I live in I rent a room from my parent, and since I've been paralyzed, my son and I have to stay here for now. I've been in contact with different organizations that are helping us get out. That it doesn't have anything to do with targeting. They work for the state. Whether that's trustworthy or not, I can't tell you. It's soon to be found out. Uh, but yeah, yeah. Um, the and the way you tell me, you say you get V2K. Have you ever been able to record your V2K, the voices?
No. Like
Yeah, I
when
got.
Holly will be in the room, and she can't hear my V2K.
Mm,
And the reason that is if you die if I have your brain signature, if I put two cell phones on a table and I call one cell phone, right? Only one's gonna ring. The one I'm calling is gonna receive the digital receiver code that I put in, which would be the cell phone number. Well, if I put somebody's brain signature in and want to pump a voice or burn them or whatever DNA code or whatever, and the it's the
you just
same way,
dial.
except the brain is the receiver instead of the phone. You see?
Yeah, you dial up their number. You dial up their
Yep.
IMEI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It's run off of DNA or blood, and there's a lot of chosen one, quote unquote chosen one, uh, channels out there. I started to buy into that a little bit with the rare bloodline and this and that, but the more I watched some of them, the more they seemed like different disinformation campaigns. And if like I know, that's what it's all about: misinformation, disinformation, redirection. Trying to keep us confused and sounding like lunatics. You know what I mean? Like this person thinks they're special.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm special at all. I think I was a piece of shit when I was younger, and maybe that. I know my biological father. I've never met him, I know he was a piece of shit. He used to beat my mom, and you know, I had the same problem with my ex-wife, and you know, I'm not glorifying it. I'm not proud of it. I still think about it to the day. It still hurts me to the day. I ruined my own family, you know. Um, and I think a lot of this has to do with that. But the gang stalking aspect of this goes way before even the Hitler and Stalin. Hitler had the Stasi. Stalin had the brown shirt police, where it was community policing. So this, you know, the base of this program has been around, at least the gang stalking part. And then I know in the early 60s, I believe it was, Russia had the first microwave weapon, where they were microwaving the American embassy
Yeah,
during the Cold War, in the beginning of the Cold War.
yeah.
Um,
I believe the
yeah,
direct energy weapons go even further than that back. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. The woodpecker and all them Russian
right,
energy weapons that we're coming up with.
right. If you do some research too, well, the not with CERN, they're talking about, they discovered this dark matter, or the fifth element. And if you look in the Bible, like I told you, I'm not really religious. I'm spiritual, but I do know what's in the Bible, because I used to attend Sunday school when I was a kid.
Right.
Um, there's an old energy called cosmic energy, and if you look up one of the YouTube channel that I told you about earlier, they have some information about it. But it's how these there's certain inventors that are creating cars that run off of just gathering the static electricity that's in the air. And what I believe is they've created some type of machine that can collect this cosmic energy and beam it out.
Right.
And they say they, you know, in the early, when I was talking about TJ .com or whatever, uh, uh, they're talking about 5G towers and beam forming. I don't know if you've heard of John Hall. He called Dr. John Hall.
Yeah.
Suppose that he was based out of San Antonio.
Yeah. I called.
Um,
I called his office. Yeah. And tried to get an
yeah,
interview with him, but they wouldn't give me. They wouldn't give him my message.
when I called him, this was years ago. When I called him, they said that his office was closed and he's no longer practicing or something like that. Uh, you know, this is my personal opinion. I believe he's a agent provocateur. You know, uh, like I said, that's my personal belief. Uh, because there's so many people out there willing to help, and just like the YouTube channel with Ella that I said earlier, I believe that that was a misinformation campaign
What
also.
makes you think John Hall's misinformation?
Just the people that advertise their help, but then when you call, they're either not available, or they're charging exorbitant prices to get some type of help. Because uh he there was an old show with the ex governor of, I think it was Minnesota,
Uh huh.
uh Jesse Ventura, called Conspiracy Theory. John Hall had an episode on there. Also, Duncan was on that show, and Duncan seemed genuinely like he felt bad for what he helped do. I've also talked to Ted Gunderson, uh, uh, Bill, Ted Gunston. I can't remember his last name right now, but Bill.
Ted
They
Gunderson,
were two. Ted Gunderson and Bill. Him and
Bill
another
Cooper.
guy. No, not Bill Cooper. I know about Bill Cooper. He was spitting knowledge way before. I've studied this stuff, you know, uh, like alternate, you know, something that's not going along with the, you know, conspiracies, I guess you can say. Uh,
Yeah. Um,
But I think you know that who coined the term conspiracy theorist. You
CIA.
know exactly. Yeah,
Uh,
and the two whistleblowers, they came out at the same time. Ted Gunderson and Bill. I can't remember his name right now, but I have
was he a
spoke to them.
doctor?
No, they work for NSA,
Bill,
and
Bill Deagle?
no, uh, he goes by William. His name is William, but he goes by Bill.
Yeah, Bill Cooper,
Uh,
William Cooper.
no, 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 no.
He wrote Behold a
Bill.
Pale Horse.
Yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Let's see. I'm getting hit with that confusion right now. Uh,
Because Ted Gunderson and Bill Cooper had
th- th-
podcasts
if
together. I
if
know
if
that.
if you find the episode of conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura that has Robert Duncan on it, the Ted Gunderson and um, Bill are both on that episode as well. Let me see. Let me see if I can find.
I kind of disagree with you on the John Hall thing. But I don't know. I didn't know he was charging for anything. But I don't know. John Hall really helped me understand what was going on with his books and stuff. I'm not saying he's not, and it's okay to
Oh yeah,
disagree. Uh,
I bought his books too. I bought the books. This is just it could be confusion. Uh,
but I know one thing. I don't if you cup your hands over your ears and you hear a crackling, it does not mean you're a TI. That's wrong. That's false information, and it just means you got to build up your earwax.
yeah.
I
There
mean,
was there was
if
one
you look
time.
up the health aspects and stuff of it, so somebody could, be a normal person, nothing going on with them, and see that, oh no, I'm a target individual, and then they start just going on they believe it full wholeheartedly and go off somebody who claims to know science, and then they believe it wholeheartedly, and then they go down a whole rabbit hole and get stuck in a rabbit hole when they wasn't targeted in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Information
Yeah,
like that is just messed up, and any doctor will tell you if you cover your ears and you hear crackling, it's because you got earwax built up. And there's other natural things that happen too with the. But anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. But yeah, so I don't know what your opinion is on that. But so I seen a post from somebody that said, "Oh, all you gotta do is cup your hands over your ears. If you hear a crackling noise, you're a TI." What's your thoughts on that?
yeah. I've tried that handcuffing. Uh, I've never heard anything with that. But you reminded me there was one time. Everything happens, like a lot of the directed energy happens in my well, now it's 24/7. I'm vibrating and burning 24/7, but in the beginning uh it would be particular parts of my body. It started with my feet, then it moved to my legs, and then they can manipulate that signal to where it can just be skin deep or surface of your skin where it feels like a sunburn, or it can penetrate your whole body and it can hit your organs. um Uh, I'm sorry. What was the question again? I'm sitting here
I was
trying
just saying.
to.
Do you think you can tell if you're a TI
Oh,
by covering your ear?
that no, no. But you reminded me. There was one night uh where I was sleeping, and that I could just feel a buzzing, almost like a bug crawled into my ear, because I've had a bug crawl into my ear before. And when I woke up, I couldn't hear out of my left ear for about a week. And it sounds like swimmer's ear or something like that, but I haven't been in the water since I've been in this wheelchair.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but I
see,
couldn't hear
tinnitus
for a
can
week.
cause that too.
In one ear?
Well, yeah. See, my tinnitus, I can go deaf for several minutes at a time in my ear. Like during the middle of, if I get a real bad tinnitus attack, my ears start popping, going crazy, and then like I'll be without sound in like whichever ear it is for like 5 or 6 minutes. Then it'll come back with a little ring when it comes back. There'll be a ringing when it comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, that tinnitus is 24/7. And yeah, sometimes it does cause me a headache. Um
Are you talking about Brian Colford, maybe? I
no,
don't.
no, yeah, I know Brian. I've spoke to him on Ella's old show too.
Steve
It's
Hoffman, maybe?
no, his name's Bill. Him, uh, Ted Gunderson, Karen Stewart, and the Bill guy. They've all spoken out before on different news. I know he died a few years ago, or maybe it was Ted Gunderson died. But he has black hair, black dark brown hair. He was balding. He was on that conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura, and they were both saying they were whistleblowers. Um,
Yeah, okay. Well,
yeah, we'll move on.
yeah, because I'm looking at the episode, but uh, anyway, we'll move on. So
It's not even. It won't let me pull it up right now.
on targeting, um,
They
and
were
back to
talking
your
about.
targeting, what's some antics they do to you? Like, what's some of the worst stuff they've done to you as far as your targeting?
As far as like the harassment, when what you were talking about earlier about different establishments acting different towards you, there's I don't know if I already mentioned this, but stop me if I have, but it was the first incident of street theater that I experienced. I took my kids to the movie theater, and we were in one line for popcorn. It was the only register. They have three registers. It was the only register that was open, and there was a long line. We were the last ones in line. And then another cashier opened a register on the other side of the counter. So the whole everybody in sync just oh well, I guess we have to move over here. The guy in front turned around. I guess we have to move over here. So the whole line moved like in sync to the other cash register, and then all of a sudden, that cash register didn't work. And then he turned back to me. I guess we got to go back. So just weird things like that. There was one time I was inside Harbor Freight, and there was these two kids following us. I mean, they looked like they were methed out, or on some type of stimulant. Um, and that wasn't street theater, but surveillance. Keeping track or whatever. Uh, just odd things that a normal person wouldn't believe, or a non-target would find hard to believe. And I think that's the point, just to make us sound and look crazy, and to diagnose us with schizophrenia. Because, like I said, I've been studying this since early, and that was one of the first things that Ella said, and I think those were provocateur too, because they had a hotline for help, emergency help for TIs, and when I called, I was just trying to get uh, my story out, or they had community homes where TIs could go temporarily. And the first thing she said to me is like, "We can't help you with any money." I was like, "Lady, I'm not asking you for money. You know what I mean? I'm just asking you to give me some information and maybe um, an escape plan. You know,
Right.
I've never tried to leave my area. Uh, I do know, my tri county area or in the state that I'm in, I've traveled and that after the directed energy started, it does follow you. So the 5G tower thing, I think uh, may have some credibility because I don't see unless there's people driving around with I've even had people with weapons inside of a backpack. I've left my home because I was getting hit so bad. I was trying to escape. Went to a hotel, and then people started showing up. And I noticed this one guy. It was a Mexican guy with a huge backpack, and he sat down by me. And I was outside smoking a cigarette. Um, the energy had stopped for a while, but once I got to the hotel, it was cool. There for about 30 minutes. Went outside to smoke a cigarette, and that's when this Mexican guy with the huge backpack came outside. He wasn't smoking or anything. He just came and sat by me, probably about 20 feet away, and that's when the vibrating and burning started again. And I have seen handheld versions of this weapon. There was one time, my me and my youngest son were inside Walmart, and there was an older man. Uh, I was in the kitchen aisle looking for silicone mats to block heat because that's what some of the information that I got off of Ella's show. And I was looking for the silicone mats, and there's this older white man following us around with silver hair. I remember it vividly, silver hair, blue bowler jacket, and the you know how between the aisles they have the perforated boards where they can hang the pegs, so you can see through the perforations.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like the thin particle board with the holes all around it. I saw him waving. It looked like a phone. It looked like a double thickness, like a phone, but double thick as a phone, and a little bit larger. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't hear it too much anymore. But you can hear that microwave auditory effect. It sounds like a boom, 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 almost like an air conditioner that's just humming in the background. But I can hear it. Uh, and I could see through the perforations that he had this black thick object, and there's pictures of it on the internet. Uh, and he was waving it, and every time it passed by me, I could hear the boom, boom, and you could feel it. It doesn't feel hot the first few times when it passes, but after it keeps going, then it starts heating up. And so I walked around, and he was the other side of the aisle was the scented candles and oil, and I know, uh, like I know how to talk to people in a way where I'm getting my message heard, but I'm not saying particular words. And I asked him if he'd ever heard about gang stalking or targeting, and he's like, no. And I was like, you like these scented candles, huh? Just trying to get a spark out of him, um, implying that he's feminine, or he got the point. And so we ended the conversation with I told him at the time to look up TJ or the terms that I told him, and we left it at that. And I and my son walked to the front of the store. I was letting my son pick a candy from how they have candy in each register. I was letting him pick a candy, and then that man came up behind me, and it was right after the El Paso Walmart shooting incident, probably about 2 weeks after that. And that man came behind and tapped me on the shoulder, and he's like, "That's a beautiful boy you got there. It would be a shame if anything happened to him like what happened in El Paso." And that's what put the nail in the coffin for me. That's when I knew there was something not right.
Wow. Yeah, that's got to be rough. Man. What did you do in that situation when he said that?
I told my son to go find his grandparents, and I ended it at that because I'm not stupid. You can't. You're not gonna dupe me into. If I would have had my pistol, I might have shot him. You know what I mean? But uh, at because that's when all of the puzzle pieces started coming together, and there's a few more incidents before this uh that that put it together, but when he said that, about my son, where because I can take whatever you can throw at me, you know what I mean, but don't mess with my family, you know what I mean.
Right.
um
Did it leave you looking over your shoulder for your son for several weeks?
uh n- no, because I know it's all aimed towards me, but I do know that they have hit my son and my mother, just to try to get a rise out of me. At least I believe, you know. Um, my son used when my legs started burning at first, I wouldn't talk about any of this stuff in front of him, but he would wake up in the middle of the night and wake me up saying his legs were hurting, and he was way too young to have growing pains. He was probably 3 or 4 at the time, and uh, uh, yeah, he would wake up saying his legs were hurting, and I would have to rub his legs so he could fall back asleep. I've been a single father for since I've been in the wheelchair.
Excuse me, 1 second.
You're good.
Sorry about that. I had to
You're
cough.
good. Yeah, but like I said, there's just certain things that they've done to family, uh, that make, I believe is aimed towards me, or trying to get a rise out of me. Like we were talking about earlier, um, how I messed up the one time, and I got taken to jail for something that I absolutely did not do a few times. This has happened more than once.
Right, and when they done that to me, I sat there for 3 days without filling out no paperwork, and then got thrown back in a car and took somewhere and just left. And at a store, they done anything like that to you? Like
What's that?
just pick you up and throw you in the back of the car and take you there for 3 days and throw you in a cell naked, and you just sit there for 3 days and don't talk to nobody, don't sign nothing. Then out of the blue, you're wondering what's going on. Nobody's answering you. You're terrified, and then they come get you, tell you you're going back. You can leave, and they give you your stuff and take you somewhere and drop you off at the store somewhere.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. I've had to pay bond every time I went. Either bond out, or like I
Oh,
said,
you actually got
I was,
charged. Oh, okay. Yeah, because this
yeah.
time I didn't get charged or nothing. It was just a weird experience. I had that, and it happened twice in a certain town in Texas. I'm not gonna name.
I I I do have similar ones, but they didn't take me to jail. They would always frame it as a psychiatric hold. They would put me on a 72-hour hold, and the majority of those times I was let out within the same day or the next day. They never completed the 72-hour hold. I've talked to 6 different psychiatrists. They all told me the same thing, that you're perfectly fine. You're just under a lot of stress. Because I'm honest with the doctors, I'll tell them what's going on. Um, and there was events placed in my way to try to dupe me into doing dumb things. And the first few times I did fall for it, and that's how I ended up on those psychiatric holds.
Right. So they would take you to a hospital, right?
Right. And they would release me saying that I'm perfectly fine. There was one particular one where I wasn't crazy. I was just pissed off, and I was cussing out the guard, and then they try to come like you were saying, uh, uh, uh trying to inject me and with Haldol, and at the time I didn't know what Haldol was, but I was just so irritated and frustrated. I told them, I'm not taking you. Better not shoot me with that. I'm gonna sue you. You know what I mean? And so they didn't, and I couldn't sleep because I was just so frustrated. So then I requested the Haldol so that I could sleep, and they came and gave it to me, let me sleep for a few hours, and kicked me out.
Wow. Yeah, there's been definitely been some crazy times like that, and like the time I was telling you when they just picked me up walking down the interstate, and said, "Oh, you're dehydrated." Well, they called the fire department and came, and the EMTs, they said, "You're dehydrated. You need to go to the hospital and get hydrated." And they took me to the hospital. And then I sit there and got my IV bag in me and got hydrated. Passed their drug test they gave me, and I even said,
All
"See."
right.
And then I get the IV bag out of me, and I they said, "Well, hold on, we'll let you free." And then all these cops come and hold me down, and they did something to me in my both my thighs, if you can imagine. Then I woke up and sitting in a mental hospital with these people, and then they gave me my release papers later that day with medical term written on it. But yeah, so yeah, this is crazy stuff, and the reason they're so bold to do it is because they know that nobody's going to listen to you because the stuff they do is so bold. Anybody that says anything like that's happening will be deemed crazy.
Right. The whole point is so that you can't get help from the police anymore. The My local police have me marked down as crazy. You know, at first when you know when this first begins, you you could get away with a lot of stuff because I don't know if you've ever heard of the term non-investigative subject.
Yep.
So I've actually driven to the police department when this first started in a car with no tags, no registration, no insurance. Cops came out and saw the car, and they're perfectly fine with it. And usually, like I said, this is a small town. They're looking for things like that just to make their revenue. But there's other times where you know I've been speeding or just driving reckless. I'm not some it's something that nobody should do. And I've been pulled over and just asked a couple of questions. Why are you doing this? Why are you driving like this? And okay, well, just be safe. Usually, you'd either get a ticket or go to jail for reckless driving or endangerment. Uh, but yeah, I do believe that they let you get away with certain things um, to hold on to just see what you're gonna do, where you're gonna go, and just follow your patterns because human beings are creatures of patterns, and
Right.
you got to
They have.
change it up.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, no, no. I'm just saying you got to change it up. You know.
Oh yeah, like I used to when I was homeless on the street. I would put I would be walking towards Family Dollar, and I would even tell the person on the phone I'm going to Family Dollar and have it all in my head, and then just make a left to the yellow store and bam, get my stuff and get out. Well, and sometimes it works. It's just hard to throw remote neural monitoring off, but you can really throw a brain entrainment off by multitasking is one good thing. Control breathing, stuff like that can really throw it off temporarily.
Yeah, I've done the same. I've just kept it in my head while I was driving. Um, I'm going to this place. I'm going to this place. I'm going. I'll just keep thinking it. But in my subconscious, I know what I'm really doing. Uh,
Right.
and that has worked for me a couple of times. So the remote neural monitoring, I was skeptical about that until I tried it. I've always been big into science, and science is the experiment. Um, uh, Auto technicians have to follow the same diagnostic procedure as doctors. You take the complaint, or the customer complaint or patient complaint, you test it out, you verify, you fix it, and you retest and you see if that worked. And the diagnostic process is the exact same thing. I'm not saying I'm a doctor or even close, uh, uh, but yeah, the I've done a lot of different experiments over and over, with controls and um repeat it, try to get the same results over, more than 3 or 4 times, just to verify that it's working. And
Right.
that multitasking music, binaural beats works for me with some headphones, good quality headphones. It doesn't stop a lot of things, but it will ease your mind. It'll ease a lot of stress. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop the directed energy.
Amy Holm has something that it's on one of her Rumble things, and every time I
Amy
try
Hall.
to put her link in the thing, they said something about the link too. So they're trying to really come down on my channel, but she has something on one of her channels. It's some kind of tone generator that's supposed to that people are saying is successful. Some people say it's successful, some people not, and I guess because people get hit with different stuff, and that's one problem with the TI community right now. I see is speaking of that is you got all these people. Some people's torturing's low, some people's torturing's mid, some people torturing's the worst. So the worst thinks the ones that are mid and low are fake. The mid think the ones that are low are fake. It's just all mass confusion, and they do all that stuff on purpose. So now they got
Yeah,
because there's three different types of targeting. In my opinion, you got some low, some that's first phase targeting. Really, the first phase was the worst for me. That's the freak out phase. They freak you out when they become overt. And you
yeah,
find all this stuff out. What I'm saying is they create mass confusion because some people don't get targeted as hard as others and all that, and it just creates a whole ball of he's fake, she's fake. No, that can't be happening. And I really think that's what they're doing with the information, like putting stuff out about cupping your ears, megaphone, stuff like that, stuff that's been debunked, and flooding information with just stuff like that is just not. It's not beneficial at all. We need to, in my opinion, we need to focus on stuff that's backed up by science, or physics, or acoustics.
yeah. Or history.
Yeah, and not
Yeah.
the fake history either. If you don't mind, I'm gonna pause this and use the bathroom real quick,
All
and
right.
then when I get back, your my next question would be like, what would you tell the audience, and other TIs? That's what my next question is going to be. Like if you had a word of hope, or if there's anything you could tell my audience, what would it be? I'm gonna be back with that question, and I'm gonna pause it right now.
All right.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, I had to use the bathroom. So I'm turning it over to him. I got about 10 more minutes, and I'm just gonna anything he's got that he would tell the audience, or any message you have for the audience, or if you want to talk about whatever you think's important for the next 10 minutes. I'm turning it over to you.
All right. For anybody that is targeted, I would say this has to end someday. Whether it's within our lifetimes or not. You know what I mean? We got to fight for the future. Those of us that have children, uh, we got to stay together. We have to do our research and contact the correct avenues to try to. And I can't tell you who those are, or what those are, but there has to be something out there that's going to help. Be careful of social media. A lot of channels are propaganda or misinformation. Um, don't don't think just because it's your family that they can't be doing it to you, or that you're going crazy, because the I've been diagnosed perfectly sane 6 or 7 different times. Um, there is a list. You can do your research and find the list. Whether you can find your name or not, I don't know. Uh, don't give up. You know, don't. Uh, you know, if you do what you have to. I wear a girdle with ice packs around all of my organs. It's causing me skin from the moisture. It's causing skin problems, but I rather have skin problems than having my organs targeted. This has slowly moved in towards from my greater community, where it was just non-important people to me or different, either strangers or different shops that I regularly visited, and it's infiltrated my family. And there is a disinformation campaign that is spread about you to get people to believe uh, that you're a bad person. That I believe, because I wouldn't think that some of these family members would do this to me. And like I said, to get the names out there, uh, this is nothing to do with David. This is to do with me. Uh, Ray Solis, and Veronica Solis are personally involved in mine. Just in case I do end up somewhere. Uh, and I'm not now, nor have I ever been suicidal. Uh, I'm not saying, and tools that you can use to locate where these signals are coming from. There's an app with a plethora of tools called Phyphox. That's Phyphox. There's another one that reads Bluetooth low energy devices, which is one of the signals I believe that they use, called Blue Radar. There's another one called Blue Scanner that will show you where these signals are coming from. They'll show you a map. I sent you, David. I sent you some screenshots of the Blue Radar or the Bluetooth scanner. Uh, the flyovers. I get the flyovers. We've had drones, falling on top of the property. Uh, there, I believe there is. This is something that I did not mention, and it could get me in trouble. Not this part, but there's private security companies involved. There's this a lot of it is ran. Yeah, low level criminals that are recruited from jails for time off their sentences, and this is all through my experience. Um, in the early stages, when they're putting you through the sensitization tactics with the colors, the colored vehicles, the people walking by with the red and black or whatever. Um, Multinational corporations, Walmart, McDonald's, city municipalities, FedEx, USPS. These are just a few that I can remember off the top of my head. Um, Hotel chains. That in the beginning, I noticed when I started going to different places, we had an influx of Californians moving to Texas, and I don't know if you know, but Texas is supposedly the next Hollywood. Uh, uh, so there is a lot of people uh, moving here that I I think have to do with some of the factions that I mentioned. Uh, uh, just beware of psyops. There's a lot of psyops out there that that will get you leading down the wrong path.
You
Um,
mentioned you mentioned something about under when you first felt direct energy weapons, you were underground. I mean, you felt them coming from the ground. Felt like it was coming from the floor. Uh, what I wanted to mention real quick is when I was in and I swear this happened. In Springfield, Missouri, my first day of mind control. Well, I say first day of mind control. I'd been stalked and noise campaign, all that good stuff that happens before you get hit with the weapons and stuff. This was my days of the weapons. My first day, I was walking down the sidewalk. Olson, man, I shit you not, and it sounded like underneath the sidewalk, like they could make me feel this and hear this and everything. I know they could, but it sounded like somebody had like a forklift or some piece or like a pry bar and just hit the ground under my feet and was right like I was walking on top of them and they were underneath the sidewalk. Now people can think I'm crazy or whatever, but I swear they done that to me. So there's definitely stuff underground that we don't know about.
Yeah, I believe that. Um, that you reminded me of another time too, in the middle of the night, because I stay in a house that's on stilts. It's not there's no foundation. It's just on stilts, like a mobile home house. And when this first started, uh, they would get a grinder, and they would grind the beams underneath the house. And you know, that's before I heard about V2K or any type of noise campaign. This is before I found out what any of this was. And then the neighbor across the street that I told you earlier that I went to jail over, uh he had he's a big time you know dealer in my area. He had a bunch of his flunky junkies whatever coming over, bringing a radio in the backyard, playing the radio in the backyard all night when I was trying to get my kids to sleep for school. So it's just silly little games like this that they want you to believe it's coming from a different source. But I've seen this with my own eyes. My area is surrounded by cameras. They can manipulate these cameras or avoid the cameras, but they cannot. If you're going to try to document any of this, use things that do not have a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connection because they can manipulate those signals to stop them. If you can get some voice recorders without any type of wireless connections, and you can catch them. You can catch if it's not V2K. That's why I said I've never experienced V2K, but I have experienced the noise harassment campaign, noise campaigns. People just talking mess, trying to make me sound crazy, but you cannot. The two people, several different voice recorders, and a dog cannot all be having the same hallucination or V2K. Because from what I understand, V2K hits somebody personally, and only that person can hear it.
Right.
Uh, yeah, so you go get you some little cheap voice recorders with no wireless connections. You can get them. You can get
I think I
as
know.
long as it's
I
not
think I know
V2K.
where one is right now. In this house. How would I use it?
Uh, what I do, the house that I stay in, the walls are paper thin and there's holes everywhere. So I just I stick them up. I put double sided tape. I'll stick them up in hidden places. I'll act like I'm doing something else. I'll stick them in different places, indoors and outdoors. If you're gonna stick them outdoors, make sure it's either not gonna rain or waterproof because I have compromised some of my devices like that by the rain. Um,
So you're
but you
saying
can
if you
do
just
it.
hit record on an old recorder, it'll record it?
Yeah, well, you got to get the one like the some of them are a little cheaper China made ones, but they work. You just stick them on, stick them on something hidden. You can either even get they sell some vinyl like the vinyl wraps for cars. They sell some that are camouflage, and you can just lay that on the top of the recorder, throw it in the grass, and go retrieve it the next morning.
Are you talking
Because
about for V2K?
no, just if you're trying to get proof of the harassment,
Oh, the
people coming
noise
around
harassment. Oh,
harassing you.
okay. All right.
Yeah, and I've had all of the emergency vehicles. I sent you pictures of the helicopters, and I can send you the first responder vehicles doing street theater all up and down the neighborhood around me, wherever I go. Wherever I go, there's either
Are you talking
unscheduled
about the
roadblock.
flight radar pictures?
Yeah, that's some of them, and a lot of those copters, they'll either be the Global Rangers or small personal training helicopters. or small planes. I don't think the commercial airliners really have anything to do with it. Um, there's an airport right down the street from me. It's a small airport, but a lot of them are coming and going from there. And I could send you a lot more of the flight radar with them flying circles. You can screen record and watch them fly circles around your house for hours, hours. I've had it go on for hours.
Well, I'm trying to get this to work. Well, they got it where this might work.
Yeah, that's it. See, and this is just one of the ones that I could find right now, but a lot of these devices are not they're not even popping up on the list, but you can see them on the blue radar.
Right. Now, is there any way to identify what that stuff means? Like, if you do find something like the E9 B7 1D, that's the MAC address, ain't it?
Right. Yeah. I've looked up the MAC addresses before. There's a website called MAC Lookup or MAC Address Lookup. Um, and see, there'll be a lot of those global ranges like that, but a lot of times they're just solid black. And even life flight helicopters have done this. See, small helicopters like this too. You see how low they are, 800 feet above the house. I don't believe they're supposed to be less than 1,200 feet um, over a residential area. But if you notice, if you pay attention to the height, a lot of them are flying so low that it's just shaking the walls. And
Wow.
I have tons of these. This is just what I could find in the 10 minute, and that's the Havana syndrome thing that I was sent. Uh,
Havana Syndrome Organization. Huh.
Yeah, and it's by the NIH. This is put out by the actual government, supposedly.
Right.
And it's saying October 5th, go ahead and go out and tell your doctors about this. In my opinion, that's uh that's just a way of locking more people up in the psychiatric wards because I believe that it's coming back just like the 30s and 40s, uh, where if a woman was uh on her monthly cycle and having PMS or whatnot, then they could just take her to a psychiatric hospital and leave her there. You need one doctor's signature to get in, three doctors' signature to get out, and that was, like I said, that was back in the 30s. I believe that that's coming back, and like we're taught in school, if you don't remember history, we're doomed to repeat it. And I believe all of this stuff is happening over again. This is just that's repeating. You know, I'm not going to get too much into politics or my political beliefs, but you can see the crumbling of America happening in front of our eyes if you know what to look for.
Right.
And use ice packs. Use this is for the viewers. Use ice packs. If you have to use substances, use substances. If you I don't promote alcohol, but if you can control it,
And that,
use it.
or
'Cause,
um,
um,
and you want to watch out promoting substances too, because some people can really get physically dependent on that. I know somebody, a TI, and I'm not gonna mention his name, but he's having problems right now. He's had 3 drinks every day for the last 2 years, just 3 drinks, and now
mm,
and now he called me the other day and he was like, David, I tried to go last night without drinking and I had to have one because it seemed like I was in withdrawals. And I'm like, dude, you only drink 3 drinks? And he's like, yeah, I drink 3 90 proof drinks with 2 shots. So he drank basically about 5.5 shots a night for every day for 2 years. And at that certain time, he told me at that certain time, he's used to drinking. If he goes without a drink, he'll start clamming up. just chills and all kinds of stuff will happen to him. I thought that was interesting. I didn't think you could get withdrawals after doing it that long. I thought you had to drink all day, every day, but apparently you can. So I would, like he said, I would watch the alcohol and the substances definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me rephrase that. Um, moderation. Only what you need. You know what I mean? Don't overdo it. And if you can find natural remedies like I have, I don't know if you have a problem with me mentioning my natural remedy
Oh no.
that there's a plant from Egypt called blue lotus. It's a flower. They call it nature's ambient. I've been using that. I've recently found out about this stuff. There's a non-psychedelic mushroom out there called Amanita muscaria. It works for me. And like I said, I used to be a heavy drug user, and for anything to hit me, I have the tolerance of a horse. But I just take a microdose of this Amanita, and it works for pain, inflammation. It helps your blood pressure. It helps fatigue. It gives you energy in the morning. And at nighttime, you can make a tea. You would have to look up the process to make the tea, and it's a process called decarboxylation. Um, you boil this mushroom and you add lemon, and that helps you sleep. It gives you good, nice dreams. There's plenty of information on it on the internet. There's one YouTuber called Amanita Dreamer. She has some information. There's another channel called Double Blind. Double Blind has a lot of natural. It's nothing but natural remedies. And I've recently found out I'm still on my naturopathic journey. Um, so I'm not saying for all of this stuff is not for everybody, but it does help me. So I'm not pushing. I'm just suggesting. Try it out before you think about hurting yourself or hurting anybody else or jumping off the handle. Uh, you know, try you know try something to ease your own. Take care of self. If you take care of self, let the rest. Let the universe handle the rest.
Right. And trying to think of um
There's one more thing I wanted to ask you, David.
uh-huh.
Do you get the gassing? Have you ever got any type of gassing?
Well, I was in this motel in Cameron, Missouri, and I've told this story before too. And I got dropped off, and I had to wait. My sister had to buy me a bus ticket because something happened. I lost mine or something. But and I was on my way to Mississippi, and we stopped in this little town called Cameron, and so I needed to get a motel for the night. Or something happened. Anyway, I got off the bus in Cameron, so I'm in this motel, and my bus is, and all I got to do is walk across the street at 5:45 in the morning to McDonald's and catch the next Greyhound. And the next stop would be Kansas City. So what they did was, I was in the motel, and when I checked in the motel, it was early. It was like 9, and I had to pay extra to get a motel because the check-in time wasn't yet. So what happened was I see this forklift bring all these big concrete slabs and put in front of each of the doors in the motel. And I've took Holly to this motel on Google Maps and showed her exactly what they did. But they put these concrete maps in front of these concrete things in front of these parking spots where nobody could park there. And so I had the hotel to myself the whole time. They made it where I was the only one in the hotel the whole night. So about 3 in the morning, I go use the bathroom, and all this white smoke comes pouring in the room. So that's one of them things where it's like I just knew what to do for some reason, the right thing. So what I did was, I got the biggest towel I could find real quick. I ran water, and then I went all the way out of the bathroom into the other side of the room and sat down with the towel over my face, breathing through it, listening to Psalm 91 over and over until 5 in the morning. Now, I don't know if that was real, they were trying to gas me or they were trying to psych me out to leave the hotel, because if you understand Cameron, Missouri, it is little. So you running around at 3 in the morning, Cameron, Missouri, and scared, fight or flight mode, you're probably going to get arrested. So they were trying to keep me from getting my bus, if you get the drift. I don't know
Yeah,
I don't know if that was the case or if it was real gas, but it was definitely something being sprayed in the hotel room like a fog, like a white smoky fog.
yeah, a very light haze. Yeah, same thing happened to me this last time I was in jail last year. Uh, because I'm paralyzed, they have to put me in the special. Well, they call it the disciplinary unit, but it's a small county, Brazoria County. Uh, so they house the people with mental problems, people with medical problems, and people with behavioral problems in general population. They put us all in the same row, and so the people with the mental problems would make noise, just banging. I don't know if you ever been to jail, but everything echoes, and I couldn't sleep. So I called the guard. I intentionally told him, and I don't never want to hurt myself, but I intentionally told him, look, I feel like hurting myself just so I could be put in a separate padded room, so I could sleep. And once I was in that padded room, about 20, 30 minutes into it, that's when that same white smoke, I did the same thing, covered my face with my shirt, with the smock that they give you.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, the
Yeah,
the
I'm
exact
not sure
same.
if it was gas or what, but I know I went all the way on the other side of the room.
Yeah,
Did
and
you
because
did you feel anything from it?
yeah, it raises my heart rate, starts making my head pound.
Wow.
Um, Confusion. Yeah, it's some strange stuff. This is all, you could write a science fiction movie with this stuff.
Right, and people's like, well, they ain't gonna put nothing and reserve a whole hotel room for you. Well, they done it, and the reason that's why they done it is because it's so unbelievable.
Yeah, it's coming through the AC vents where I was at.
Yeah, well, there's a vent in the bathroom, like I don't know where, but anyway, it was coming in through there, and man, I was already tripped out because I called my sister and I said, look. And I took pictures of the cinder block. I'm wondering if she still got that picture. But I took pictures of the blocks they put. Everybody's like, look, I got the whole room to myself. I mean, it was just weird. I mean, it's a little motel, but still, they done that stuff on purpose to freak me out. Well, I really thank you for coming out, Olson. Maybe you could get like a timeline wrote down and come back on, because I could tell they could definitely messing with your memory, in this during this thing. And I
Yeah,
know that there's a lot more that you'd like to get out. I am going to scrub one thing from there, and I'll tell you that when we leave, when we exit here in a second. Uh,
yeah, I believe
and I'll
yeah,
tell you why I'm going to scrub it too. So, but I really appreciate you coming out, man. Keep in contact with me. Any information you'd like to share or like me to post or something, just let me know.
yeah, I'm an open book, so yeah, I'll make better notes. And if you will have me on later, I'll write this down, chapter by chapter. Uh,
Definitely. Well, I'm gonna stop
yeah,
recording right now, and